And here we are. Welcome to another short of the Make Him Pay NBA Fantasy Podcast, brought to you by Squeaks Fantasy Basketball. I'm your host, Prime, and once again we are missing the joyous Matthew Cowie. Where are you, my friend? We need to get back on the horse, my mates. We've hit the KPI of 4 episodes, and we need to get on to more to break that and continue on. Anyway, a little short to wrap up week 5, as we've missed a couple of weeks with some travel and personal reasons, and we'll jump straight into it now. Actually, before we do, we'll just request, if anyone wants to reach out, you can hit us up on YouTube at Squeaks Galari, and on Instagram Squeaks Fantasy. Reach out, give us a comment, say hello. Interested to hear any of your thoughts, constructive criticism or positive feedback, whatever you want to do. Just reach out. Anything will be well received. Cheers. Week 5 in Squeaks, another big week. We've had some huge scores, some massive discrepancies, and other teams ravaged by injury again. So first cab off the rank is Julian at 6.15, defeated by Kane, and Kane was very impressed to get the win in this one with 7.72. Key performer there was Josh Giddey at 1.36. Followed up by the RD, Derek Queen at 1.04, and oddly enough, Julian with a second player in the top 3, Andre Drummond, of all people, the guy that thought he could shoot threes. So even with those two in the top 3, Kane's pulled together a fantastic week with some very consistent scoring. I think Reed Shepherd in there as well, taking a bit of a usage bump with a few outs, and Kane's got across the line. Second matchup of week 5 was myself at 5.43. Finally succumbing in at the end of the week to Sticks with 7.04. Now the 150 point gap wasn't as big as what it was up until the Saturday of the matchup. Couple of back-to-backs, bang, 4 or 5 outs, couldn't field a team, and the last 2 days it was run away with. Positive notes there, the form of Con Knipple at 108 for the week has continued, so really impressed with Con, essentially heading up the RD scoring, so that's been fantastic. The other 2 big performers were from Sticks, with Franz Wagner at 98 and Nikhil Alexander Walker at 94.5. Matchup 3, we'll head across to Adam, getting a close one, 5.99.5 to CJ 5.68. CJ on a 2-game losing streak. Adam will be very impressed with that after another family member got the dub last week. So in week 4, should I say? I'm recording this a little bit later. Harden again, 120. Followed up with a couple of big performers by Dyson Daniels at 90 and Nicholas Claxton at 83. Now, I did want to make a note in this one. Ryan Rawlins, probably on his way to something close to a most improved performance for 25-26 with 82 for this week. He has been a consistent figure at point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, and hopefully that trend continues. So it's good to see Milwaukee get someone with a bit of consistency in there, and good to see Rawlins getting a gig. Matchup 4, we have Ben, still unfortunately on a bit of a losing streak at 4.51. Brett finally getting one in there after a very slow start. A few players back, and 6.39 gets him his first win. Bam at 81 was his best player, but believe it or not, and this is probably a sign of Ben's roster with his outs at the moment. Peyton Watson at 89 was his best performer. That's kind of odd, but kind of nice. So well done Ben for getting a bit of a mid-tier guy up there for the week, but unfortunately another loss on the board. Week 5, matchup 5, Jake at 680, still a very solid score, but as we keep saying, He's come up against the scoring leader in Darcy, and, well, what do you know? Another 800. Top 3 goes to Jalen Johnson, SGA, Ivica Zubac's 148, 144, 135. Same story. At this point in time, week 5, we're looking at a very, very handy keeper selection to pair with Giannis to put Darcy up in the top echelons and leading the points for so far. Matchup 6, we got Cole at 619, not quite across the line this week. Eric getting a win, that's 2 in a row, 670. Oddly enough, Cole still had some good performers in this one. Eric just being propped up by second best score for the week in this matchup was Jamal Murray at 112.5. Bookended by Donovan Mitchell at 123 and Denny Avdia again at 108. Solid matchup, pretty close right up until the last day, and quote unquote Eric bailed out by Jamal Murray. Does it feel nice? Okay, matchup 7, we got Cowie putting up a solid 645, but unfortunately, we're heading around the roundabout again for a similar story to week 4. Morgan with the Joker at 213.5 points for week 5. My God, that is out of this world. Somehow or other, Joker hasn't won an MVP recently. It's on track again with those kind of numbers. And Morgan following that up with Tyrese Maxey at 145.5. And Cowie with sophomore Klingon at 120. Great week by Klingon. And hopefully that sets a bit of a tone for the upcoming couple of weeks for Matthew. And finally, we have matchup 8. TJ at 760, getting the dub against David at 611, turning the tables on David's win last week. TJ with Scotty Barnes at 100, Isaiah Hartenstein at 91, and David pulling in David Bain into the 3rd position at 90. So well done, boys. It'd be nice to get some full rosters coming up soon, because I think the split in the scoring has been a result of some very, very heavy workload management, innocuous injuries again, and multiple missed games for things that are just coming out of the blue. Hopefully we can get some really tight matchups coming soon, because there is some teams being absolutely decimated. This week in Squeaks, I think there's some notable mentions there. Josh Giddey with the multiple triple doubles. Harden just once again pulling up the stats from everywhere. We've got Edie back for Memphis, which is a bit of a boost to the big man stocks in Adam's team. So I think you'll be enjoying that. And of course, we've just said it before. Nikola Jokic, 200 points. It's that is unbelievable. You're averaging over 50 points a game, and it's like having an extra person on your roster. He has been a cheat code in the past. He's showing it again. Everyone's wondering when he's going to drop off. He clearly is just good at basketball. What else can you say? Relaxed, chilled, laid back, but they keep going in. He keeps finding his teammates. He keeps pushing Denver up to the top of the West, and Morgan is thanking every part of that $90+ that he's had to pay for him. Look, that's a wrap for week 5. We will be back on board hopefully this week with Matthew after he's back from his travels. We will give a bit of a rundown of week 6 in Squeaks with a few tight matchups to come, and we'll have updates on the RD class headed up by players like Conker Nipple and Ryan Kalkbrenner. Somehow Charlotte are not necessarily winning games, but they're putting up some pretty positive statistics and getting some run into the legs of their young guys. So well done. All right. Once again, reach out to us, Squeaks Scolari at YouTube and Squeaks Fantasy on Instagram. Enjoying all your comments, so keep them coming. and we will see you soon. Thanks.